So you're thinking about buying an investment property to generate some rental income, but you may be wondering, with so many horror stories about bad tenants, how do you screen tenants to make sure that you don't have to evict them later on? In this video, I'm going to give away all my secrets to screening and avoiding bad tenants. If this video gives you any confidence to buy an investment property to become a landlord, make sure to read my 12-step guide to purchasing a home. Comment down below and I will send it over. Hey everyone, it's Gourav Khatri and I help people buy, sell and invest in real estate in Mississauga and the surrounding areas of the GTA. If you're in the market and need some guidance, please feel free to book an intro call with me by clicking the link in the description down below. Now let's get to it. Preparing the property. One of the first things that you need to do is make the property presentable and visually appealing to potential tenants. Clear out all closets, drawers and cabinets. If the property has been left in a bad shape by the previous tenants, make sure to get it painted and professionally cleaned. When taking pictures, make sure all the countertops and surfaces are clear. Turn on all the lights and open up all curtains and blinds to let as much natural light in as possible. The brighter your property looks, the better. You do not need an expensive camera. However, if you do have one of the latest smartphones, you can use the wide angle feature to capture wide shots of rooms. Quick tip: when shooting rooms with mirrors, make sure that you're not being reflected in those mirrors. Marketing the property. When I have a rental listing, I market it on multiple online platforms because the more people that can see your listing, the more applications you will get. And the more applications you get, the pickier you can be when choosing a tenant. Tenants in Ontario start their property search either on the MLS, which is Realtor.ca, Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji. Hence, I recommend posting on all three platforms. Note down all the important information about the property such as number of bedrooms and bathrooms, square footage, amenities, utilities, furnished or unfurnished, etc. Take a look at the recent comparable rental listings and price your property accordingly. If priced too high, no matter how much you market your property, you may not have as many rental applications. Once your listing goes live, you will start receiving messages from tenants wanting to see your property. If you're not using a realtor and doing it by yourself, make sure to ask the tenants their credit score, employment income and potential move-in date. This pre-screening will save you time in case it's someone that doesn't fit your criteria. Review applications. If a tenant is interested in your place, ask them to provide you with a rental application, full credit report, employment letter, recent pay stubs, and a photo ID. Once you receive an application, check the credit score. Credit scores above 700 are generally acceptable, and for anything that is below, you should investigate further and ask further questions to the tenant about why it's so low. When it comes to income, it's a little more tricky. Don't take income at face value. A six-figure income may look good on paper, but what matters is what is left over after expenses, taxes, and debt repayments. Check the credit report to see how much debt the tenant has and if they have had any late payments or any bankruptcies. Take the tenant's monthly income after taxes and start subtracting all the tenant's monthly obligations such as car payments, student debts, credit card debts, etc. If the leftover amount is less than or not much more than the rent you're asking, then you should think twice before considering the application because the tenant is probably going to be borderline broke living at your place and one day may not be able to afford rent. Discard any applications that do not meet your minimum credit score and income requirements. I hope you're getting some value from this video. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Verify applications. If the application meets your criteria, check the photo ID to make sure it's still valid and verify the age and photo of the applicant. The name and address on the employment letter, recent pay stubs, and the credit report should match with the photo ID. Next, you should read through the employment letter to make sure that the applicant is not under probation or under a contract that expires soon. Because if they lose their job, how will they be able to afford rent? The salary and occupation mentioned on the rental application should match with the one mentioned on the employment letter. The salary should also match the pay stubs. I will show you a quick and easy way to do this. Take the gross salary mentioned on the pay stubs and multiply it by the frequency of payments. For example, if the tenant gets paid bi-weekly, then you multiply by 26. If he gets paid weekly, then you multiply by 52 and you get the idea. Verify employment. If everything is satisfactory at this point, it is now time to verify the employment. To do this, you will have to call the employer and confirm whether the applicant is working there and if they're making the amount of money that they have quoted. While you're at it, also confirm if the tenant is currently not under probation. Never assume that any information provided by the tenant is accurate. I never call the employer's number provided by the tenant. Instead, I search for the company online and call the number on their website and then find my way to HR to verify. This one little trick has saved me and my clients from countless bad tenants. In fact, I never call the references provided by the tenant, as they will usually speak highly of the tenant. Same goes for previous landlords. If the tenant was really bad and the landlord was honest about it, then a tenant would never find a new place to live anywhere else, and hence would never vacate the landlord's place. I will tell you a quick story about this one applicant that had an 800 plus credit score and was working as a financial analyst at a huge car company. My clients were really keen on accepting this tenant. So I then called this car company to verify if the person really worked there. And surprisingly, they had never even heard of this name. I then called the number provided by the tenant. The person that picked up the phone seemed confused at first and then confirmed that the tenant was really a financial analyst there. I then proceeded to ask how much money he made, and this guy had no clue. The next day, I received a call from this tenant's agent, furious that I called the employer to verify. So I told the agent what I found out and also told her that we would be putting our own version of the credit report just to be sure. Immediately after hearing this, they pulled their application. Which brings me to my next point. Verify credit report. Just like any other document, credit reports can be manipulated too. So when you receive an application, use the credit report provided by the tenant as a baseline to judge the application. But once everything checks out and you want to proceed with the tenant, the one last step remaining before accepting the offer should be to pull your own credit report. You can usually do that by going on neighborly.com. They will charge you like $25 per report. Once you get the report, verify to see that the credit report provided by the tenant was accurate and still matches your criteria. I've pulled reports in the past where everything is matching with the tenant's credit report, but maybe the score has changed a little, sometimes for the better or worse. If it's worse, ask further questions. Accepting the tenant. Before we accept the offer, I usually like to arrange a meeting with the tenant over Zoom or in person so that the landlord and the tenant can get to know each other and discuss the rules, regulations, and terms of the lease. Once both parties are in agreement, note down all the rules, regulations, and terms on the lease agreement and have both the parties sign so that it's in writing. Once the agreement is signed, make sure the tenant submits the relevant deposits on time. Before moving in, ask the tenant to provide proof of tenant's insurance and proof of any utilities being transferred under their name. Let me know in the comments down below any additional steps you take when screening a tenant. If you need to have an in-depth discussion about buying an investment property in Mississauga or the surrounding areas of the GTA, please feel free to contact me directly or book an intro call with me using the information in the description down below. And make sure to check out this next video.